Well, you'll like this. Nipped number 2, nipped number 4, burned off number 6, left number 8 alone. All right, so been struggling a little bit, or we've been struggling a little bit on this thing. I think we're getting somewhere now. So what this whole project is about, this is that engine that was seriously hurt. The block must have been exactly like that. It has 3 spun mains like this, and somewhere in here they have repaired this block and done a fantastic job of repairing it. But that is the worst spun main shaft or crankshaft I've ever seen. So the crankshaft was repaired. So it's a repaired crankshaft, repaired block. The crankshaft actually is fine. I actually managed to save it somehow. Probably because it spun in the block before it spun on the. In fact, I think it probably saved it because it grabbed the crankshaft, spun in the block, and put all the heat and material in the block instead of on the crankshaft. That's pretty good. Seriously hurt. So we've repaired this whole thing, and now I've changed a couple things in it, and well, I've changed a bunch of little things in it, and now we're doing some testing. Engine seems to be fine. You can go back, you can see the NA version of this thing where it makes 1,000 some odd horsepower NA. Real nice, easy, sweet, no big deal. Didn't even try, to tell you the truth. We just ran it up, just kind of wanted to get a good baseline on it, make sure everything was working well. Oh wait, the dog is bugging the crap out of me. Dewey's the dog's name, if you didn't know. Bugging the crap out of me. He goes in here, you can put down there. He peels the darn tape off of the floor, which just drives me crazy. He's out there eating. He's a little brown jerk sometimes. But anyways, so I think we're getting somewhere with this thing, so we'll go out. I just made a pull on it. Just ran it up to 7,500. Everything's looking pretty decent. It's a little down on power from where we think it should be. Looked at plugs look decent. So I think we're just going to touch up the tune just a little bit. We'll make a pull on it right now, and I'll show you that pull, and then we'll come in and take a look at numbers. So what I want to do, though, is because this engine was so badly hurt, everything was moved around with the mains and all this other stuff, I have told him, I said, once we get this thing to a reasonable level, horsepower level, we're not shooting for max horsepower. We're not trying to make 3,500 horsepower with this right now. This does have the NHRA gear set in it, so it's made to go 92, 9,400, I think it is. We're not going to do that because this is not built to be a Pro Mod engine. This is built to be a drag and drive engine, and to do streamliner testing and to do long runs. So it's not geared to do that. It's not built to do that. The camshaft is not designed to do that. So we're not going to be making all the great big horsepower numbers. But I do want to just test this and get it to a point where it's making good horsepower, reasonable horsepower, take it off the dyno, and then I'm going to go through this thing, make sure everything's all good, things aren't moving, things aren't shifting, things aren't rubbing that didn't used to rub, stuff like that. All right, so let's go. I'll show you the numbers right now of what I just did with it, and then we'll make another pull on it. So why don't you hop out here, step over the dog making his dog mess. Alright, so this is what it just did. So 7,500 made 2117, and torque it made 1525. So now I want to come into it, rev it up a little bit more. We think we're, like I said, some of the numbers just aren't making sense on this thing right now, so I think we're going to end up making some changes. Oscar's working on the tune. This has Motec system on it. I don't tune Motec stuff. So He's doing some remote tuning with us and doing a great job. Appreciate that. So some of our numbers just aren't making sense. So some of the numbers aren't there, and that's the other reason why it's like, okay, we'll get it to a reasonable level horsepower wise, and then I just want to take it off and tear into it anyways, and make sure things aren't moving or shifting. So let's go ahead and we'll make a hit on this thing. This time I'll put the camera in the dyno room. You guys seem to like that. Alrighty, so just made that pull, and this thing I was trying to get it to go over 8,000. We had just made a real slight fuel change, so just up in that upper RPM where it kind of had a little layover up there. The EGT still looked a little bit cool, so we took a little bit, 5% fuel out there, and it did this. This thing is running. It's identical, and right where we took a little bit of fuel out, right there, about 65, 6600. 5% fuel, this thing laid over like crazy. So Oscar's looking at the tune-up, seeing what we can find out. I'm gonna go in there and pull spark plugs, and I'll show you what the spark plugs look like. Well, obviously not the right direction. Let me show you this. This is why we're struggling with this right now, to figure out what's going on and why it is so insanely sensitive. This was the set of plugs that we took out on that 2117, and it has a few pulls on it, so you really can't, it looks a little funny, but everything looks fine basically, and some things look a little bit rich, if anything. So that is what it was like 5 minutes ago, or 10 minutes ago. This is what it looks like now. So what the heck? 5% less fuel, 5% more fuel, 5% less fuel, just at 6,700 and above, nipped it. Starting to nip it, burned it right clean off, just getting a little heat into it, getting a little heat, looks okay, getting a little heat, definitely getting a little heat. So 5% fuel on this deal went from what looked like a pretty safe plug to burned up. And so that's a little bit of a tech thing there for you. Just not exactly sure what all is going on there. But anyways, so we're Oscar's looking at tune. We'll start figuring it out, and I think we're gonna make a wholesale change here on the injectors. I think something's going on. So we're gonna make a wholesale change there. Now's a good time. I nipped a couple plugs now. It was running good. I was gonna run it up higher RPM. It should have made probably 20 at 8,000. It probably really should have made about 2,400 horsepower. So that would have been at 30-ish pounds of boost. This was that 7,500 is 26 pounds of boost is what it just made. So it'd probably be pretty close to 30 pounds of boost and about 2,500 horsepower. So reasonable. It's looking about right. But now's a good time to tear this whole thing apart, since I just nipped some plugs. Might as well go into it and take a look at it. So the saga continues. The battle continues on. We shall overcome here shortly. But it definitely didn't hurt the engine on that, as far as like, it didn't do any real big hurt, because when these things get hurt, it will shoot steam and vent pressure out the tubes. That's why I actually have these open so I can see them. Sometimes I'll put tubes on them and run them down to the ground, but I just had it open so I could see what was going on. Nothing significant, so I don't think it really hurt the engine, but because this thing was hurt so bad, I just want to take a look at it. So we will be coming back at the all billet Hemi for drag and drive, and we're going to come back at this thing, and we will succeed. Just sometimes you got to hit it a couple times. So I'm Steve Morris. Like, comment as much as you like. You can always give me ideas. But go to the merch store, buy some cool shirts, buy some neat stuff. We get some new stuff on there too. I'm Steve Morris. Have a great day.